Well, hello there, listeners or viewers, however you're consuming this playbook. This is Craig Pretzinger. I have been out for about a month. It was some time that needed to be taken. To put it into perspective, my wife left her job and she actually ended up getting an offer while we were on vacation, but we ended up going to Portugal. And I'm going to highly recommend anybody listening to this, when you get some free time, go to Portugal. It is incredible. But moving past that, I did a lot of thinking about the why and the how behind being able to go away for a month, to have a little bit over 10 million in premium, a team, and to leave and really, for the most part, not be involved very much at all. And I'm sure that a lot of folks would love to be at that point. If you are, then you know how awesome it is to be free from the agency. If you're not there yet, you certainly can, but it's a lot different than it used to be. We're going to look at some of these things. So let's dive in to becoming free from your agency freedom in 2023. Let's go. It's the Insurance Dudes. All right, we are back and welcome to another playbook. So I'm going to lay down a few different episodes that have to do with agency freedom. So we're going to talk about a framework that I put together while I was on vacation that I think is really important to put yourself in the position where you have that agency freedom. Now, what did agency freedom used to mean? It used to mean, and for many, many years, right, to the folks who were independents or were captive and with a single carrier, when agents were, depending on the carrier, some agents were in a popular box store that is no longer around, they're gone. But it was a lot different. Most of the folks would build their book up, get to a certain point, take their foot off the gas and kind of ease into retirement, maybe sell it, maybe give it to their kids, but certainly not put in the kind of effort that they had on the front end. And while that's great, it isn't what gets you that agency freedom anymore. You can't just sit back idle and watch the premium decline without having some kind of new business coming in. Otherwise, the book is going to die and you're just not going to get it. Carriers are cutting back on the comp tied to your renewals. So you can't play that game anymore, right? It's a different world. The carriers, especially the captive carriers, have had to adjust because the landscape has become extremely competitive, right? It's been a long time coming. I think the captive carriers thought that they could wait out the discount 800 numbers, but it hasn't worked out that way. And now they have to compete head to head. So in competing head to head, they had to change some things up, right? They have to push growth and fuel growth. So that exists. We all know that. If we invest in the front end, we're going to get paid. We're going to increase that lifetime value of that client. And we talked about lifetime value a ton. So I think that you're familiar with that. If you haven't listened to us for long, I encourage you to go back, listen to episodes that we talk about lifetime value. I am going to touch on it a little bit as we get into the framework, but that's going to be over the course of several episodes. So number one, let's just focus on the point that we cannot do this the same way that we used to. We have to grow. Because if we're not growing, we're dying, and we just may as well get out of it. We have to focus on investing for that growth. It's the only way to make it happen. You can't just hope that people are going to come in and you're going to get enough business that way. With retention going down for many, many people, because quite frankly, the audience or the people that are buying insurance these days are really focused on the deal. But when they're looking, their first thing is they were trying to find the deal, right? And you hear it from your producers because they're going to tell you, oh yeah, they were focused on price. Of course, that's how everybody comes to us, right? So they've been taught by the 800 numbers, by Flow, by the get-go, suggesting that they need to be trying to save money, right? And do it quick in 15 minutes. So really important that we do that, right? There's a pendulum swinging from that. It was the agent who held the keys to the kingdom for a long time. The internet came along, it swung, and now it's overcorrecting the other way. Agents aren't going to go away, at least not anytime soon. People want to talk to people. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. Millennials ask a lot of questions. I know that there's a lot of listeners who are millennials. They're going to enter your funnel via the internet, but they're ultimately going to want to ask some questions and they're going to want to talk to a human to get the business done. So really important to focus on that. And the other thing that's happened in this world is this consolidation of smaller agencies. So smaller agents are getting out. The ones who thought they could sit back and collect premium off into, as they go off into the sunset, are now having to sell, and they're selling at a lower multiple than the agencies were going for before. They're really taking a hit, right? And it's sad and it's unfortunate unfortunate, but there is a way out, and it is to invest in growth. Now let's look at that. Let's unpackage that for a second on comp, right? Because this thing has changed, we now have to focus on not just the income, right? For a very long time, agents would focus on income. I need to maximize my income. I need to maximize my revenue. And that's great because that's your immediate money, right? That's your cash flow. That's what's going to pay for the reinvestment into your program that creates the offense that gets you the quotes, that then gets to your people, that then they close and you write more business. But just focusing on income alone isn't enough. That's the old model, right? Creating the relationships and having people send, waiting for people to call in, not being as proactive and aggressive to bring in the new business, not necessarily investing in leads or investing in something that's going to drive more quotes to the agency. That was the old way, was focusing on the income. How much can I make this month? We hear it all the time. People will sign up with teledudes, come in and aren't always ready to wait, right? They're looking at, okay, we got this many quotes this month. How much did we make off of those quotes? That's the income only model. And that doesn't work. We have to focus on the equity that we build in our book, right? We get equity from all the leads that we buy and all the people that we've talked to, all the emails that we have, all the people that we can follow up with. That is equity, basically our cost of goods sold. And then our equity in the book is the overall premium that we get from growing, right? So not only does our income increase when we're focused on growing the book, but also our exit increases, right? Everybody should be building a business with the intent of creating equity so that someday you can sell it, or someday you could bring somebody else in, run it, lots of different opportunities there. And like I said before, because the multiples may be going down, we have to increase that premium, right? We can change it. We can still get the same payoff at the end when we sell our agency, but we're going to have more premium. So how do we do that, right? We have to get more quotes. But it's not just that. If it was that easy, then all you need to do is pay for a bunch of leads and get the right system in place and have the great offense. But that is only a short-term fix. Again, it's just income. We don't want to be narrow-minded and only focused on the one thing. We need to be looking at income and equity. So how do we do that? We need to focus on the 5 Ps. I'm going to get into the 5 Ps, but I'm not going to get into them right now. What I'm going to do is stop here because we've been going a little bit. I want you to unpack the things I've talked about, really think about that, and let's circle back on the next episode. I'm going to introduce the 5 Ps, and we're going to talk about why they're so important to supporting both income and equity for your agency and creating this long-term, predictable, sustainable, offensive strategy and all-around successful agency. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please shoot us a message on Facebook or wherever else. And of course, we do appreciate if you give us a review. That's how we get more people to listen. And ultimately, we want to help other agents grow, and they can do it by listening. And the more reviews that folks put, the more people will listen. So if this has been helpful for you, we appreciate it. Throw a comment on the YouTubes, what have you. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.